fucking sad. Hi friends, it's Becca. Welcome back to my channel and my ongoing quest to review every single film that Robin Williams has ever appeared in. Today's guest is my former roommate and friend and art school graduate art school person. What the fuck?
I'm in graduate school for art.
Yeah, okay. Elle MacMurray.
Hi!
We are talking about the 1990 movie Awakenings. This film stars Robin Williams as Dr. Malcolm Sayer, a fictionalized version of distinguished neurologist Oliver Sacks, who treated patients who suffered from, I have to remember how to pronounce it, encephalitis lethargic, a disease that paralyzes patients but leaves their mind active. Directed by Penny Marshall, who also directed A League of Their Own.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I love that movie.
Yes. And she was Robin's former classmate from an acting school. Also starring Robert De Niro and Marge fucking Simpson.
My homie.
About halfway through this, we were like, she sounds just like Marge Simpson. And I looked it up, and sure enough. Also starring a whole bunch of actual asylum patients as background extras. This is a movie that I really thought was going to go one way and like follow the Robin Williams formula to a T. And it kind of did, but it also made me very sad. And Ellie is here as my guest because I'm visiting her in Chicago, but also because she wrote a paper on this for
I did.
in college.
In undergrad college, for an abnormal psych class, I had to write a series of short essay responses about this film, and I was able to find them. It was like 4 years ago.
I have a crisis every time I realize how long it's been. This movie is basically about this doctor who is experimenting with the effects of the drug L-Dopa on patients that suffer from this. They have awakenings where they are normal people again, and then they start to succumb to the effects of the drug. So that's what this is about.
Isn't it interesting how they like literally awake in the middle of the night though?
Oh yeah.
Like whenever they finally like, when the drug starts working, it happens in the middle of the night.
Was it at 3:15 a.m. Did anyone check the clock?
Ryan Reynolds, where are you?
That's like the horror movie time. Robert De Niro was sent a script before anybody else, and he was basically told, hey, choose your part. So he was like, I'm going to choose the patient because that's the glitzy role. So then they came to Robin to approach him about playing the role of doctor. He was really worried about performing with Robert De Niro at first because he was like so intimidated by him. The film was shot on location at the Kingsborough Psychiatric Center in Brooklyn. Robin said, it's so depressing, everything is caged, there's a lot of doors and only 5 keys. And he was very uncomfortable with some of the background extras being like actual active psychiatric patients that were just like sitting there. He did love working closely with Oliver Sacks, the neurologist, who also helped Dustin Hoffman for his role in Rain Man. So welcome back to the channel, Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman channel now.
What if it was? What if I was like surprised? Now I have to talk about Racing Stripes. Damn, Robin Williams barely escaped being in Racing Stripes. I feel like he really could have been in that.
He would have been in it. Oh my god.
He was alive. It came out in 2005.
Wait, and you're telling me he wasn't? Oh, he could have.
He could have been.
You could have told me that and I would have believed that he was.
Sacks allowed Robin to study personal film footage of his patients. At one point, once they got close, they noticed Robin like bent into a very pensive pose when they were talking, and they were like basically becoming the same person.
Oh, mirroring.
And because I have to have like a sad Robin Williams quote in every one of these, Sacks said of Robin, Robin has an almost instant access to parts of the mind, dreamlike parts with phantasmagoric associations that some of us don't.
What was that?
Phantasmagoric?
Phantasmagoric.
Yeah.
I learned a new word today.
And they stayed close after the wrap. Eventually, Robin would make Robert De Niro laugh so hard during takes that his face would get red, and they would be like, okay, cut. Like, he's supposed to be sick.
He's supposed to not, like, have any facial changes.
Apparently, at one point, I think this may have been during a scene that was cut, but there was supposed to be a scene with an insect on a table where Robert De Niro was like, ew, like freaked out about filming that. So during filming, Robin put pipe cleaners on his ears and like crawled around pretending to be a cockroach to make him laugh. Robin also accidentally broke Robert De Niro's nose during the scene on set.
Wait, which scene?
I think the one where he,
Does he throw a baseball at him and it hits him in the face?
No, he elbowed him.
Oh,
He fully elbowed him and broke his nose. I think it was either when they were dragging him out in the office or when he like shoves Robin for the first time. It was
probably when he
one of
gets
those
dragged.
things.
That would make sense.
And he felt so bad. But Robert De Niro was like, so I actually broke my nose during Raging Bull, and when Robin broke it, it looked better after.
He fixed my face. I would love to like rewatch it and see if I can see like the changes in his nose now.
As far as what I thought about the movie, I think on the whole it was very good. There's moments of it that are really fucking corny, but there's also moments that are corny but they work. I also didn't expect it to end as sadly as it did, so I will give it credit for that. In ways that it follows the Robin Williams formula, I guess I would say, like, there is an unnecessary romance between Robin and Marge Simpson.
Eleanor.
She asks him out at the beginning of the movie, and then she's just kind of there the whole time, and then he asks her out at the end.
Yeah, she's like the assistant. She's helping him manage patients that are now taking the drug. She's helping the patients, like, as they come back, as they awake, and
I just hated that when he first asked her out, he was like, oh, I have plans, but then it cuts back to his house, and it's just that he was too shy.
He's too shy
to go out with her. I really liked Robin in this movie. Like, he did a very good job of, like, Peggy Marshall said one of her best jobs on set, not one of her best, one of her most important jobs on set was keeping Robin from being funny.
Really? Because it's a serious...
Which you can see in this movie, like, he is very subtle, and his performance is very good and very, like, it's still noticeably him because he still has that comforting energy that he always has, but it's not, like, this isn't a typical Robin Williams performance, which is why I think I would exclude it from the Robin Williams formula. Because ultimately it doesn't, there is a big bad establishment type deal, but they do ultimately, like, let him do the thing that he was going to do. And he doesn't lose his job, it just, spoilers, it just ultimately doesn't work. There are definitely elements of the formula, I just don't think it follows it, like, tried and true enough. There's not enough comedy in it either for it to be, like, a proper Robin Williams formula. No. I did write that it was very weird that immediately from the beginning, when Robin is uncovering all this stuff about the disease, like, no one cares.
Nobody
For the longest time, people are just like, okay.
They just, like, he's like, let me throw this ball. Like, look, she uses the will of the ball to move, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
That's dumb. And they just, like, they don't care. They discard it, and they're like, good luck working towards nothing. You're not going to find anything from this.
There were a lot of moments that I know that they were trying to emotionally manipulate me that I just couldn't take seriously. Like, there were a lot of times where there was, like, sappy piano music under something happening that I was just like, ugh. The scene where everyone in the hospital stands up and turns in their paychecks to fund the research.
Yeah!
I hated that, because I was like, how are you fuckers gonna pay rent?
And there's the one girl that, like, can't let it go.
She doesn't want to.
And they, like, I makes her, and I'm like, it's me.
Once the patients are all finally, like, experiencing the effects of the drug and are starting to move around, they were all acting like E.T.
Yeah, they're, like, looking at the light.
They were all like, ooh, and, like, there's this sappy music, and I was just like, this is dumb. But then there were very effective moments, like the first time that Robert De Niro's character woke up, and when he saw his mom.
Yeah, you, like, were about to
That was so, that was very moving. And it was one of those, it was set up, and I was like, fuck, I know this moment's coming. Mm-hmm. But then they did it, and it worked for me. Movies like this, I'm like, I don't want to fall for it, but it got me.
Got you.
Eee! Ultimately, I became the most invested on the back half of the movie after they had the fun montage, where they, like, go out and have fun, and they're, like, being people.
Oh, wait, when they go out dancing?
Yeah, like, around that time.
Mm-hmm.
But then after, when it started to get into, like, Robert De Niro's character is, like, starting to kind of slip back into that, and they're wondering what's going to happen to everybody else and experimenting with the dosage. That was what I was the most intrigued by.
Yeah. It's the thing that, like, actually happens, too. You build up a tolerance, and eventually your body can't handle it's being given, and so... The
mirror image at the end where that first moment where Robert De Niro breaks out of his room and writes his name in crayon is, like, so triumphant, and then to see that exact moment again at the end with it being sad that was really cool. I believe that Robin Williams should have been nominated for an Oscar for this performance.
You do?
I think so. I think if they were going to nominate one, they should have nominated both.
Robert De Niro, he was really able to embody a person with... I guess the way they describe it, too, is an extreme form of Parkinson's, where your body's shaking so much it comes to a halt. And so, but you see him going through the stages where his steadiness slowly gets shakier and shakier, and the way that his body moves, like, I thought was really, it was a good performance. Sorry. I got nervous.
Robert was nominated for an Oscar for this.
Yes.
Robin was not.
Robin was.
And Robin, like, really thought he was going to be. And he was coming off into this from his loss from Dead Poets Society, which I forgot to put in the Dead Poets Society review, so this is a redux. But, like, during the Oscar ceremony, he was, like, in the center panel when they announced the winners. Because I guess
Did
they
you
like
see his
really thought it was gonna be him. Yeah. Apparently, when they say Daniel Day-Lewis, he like flinches a tiny bit and then like immediately stands up and starts clapping.
Yeah.
But it did get nominated for Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Best Actor for Robert De Niro. And Robin
he chose the right role.
Robert De Niro was like an industry professional by then. He was like,
Can we talk about how the kid like looked exactly like him?
oh yeah, there's like the first 5 to 10 minutes of this are like of the young Robert De Niro, and I was like, I know already who that character is supposed to be.
Because he's got the mole and the eyebrows.
He does have the mole. Reviews for this movie at first were generally very unwelcoming and negative, especially toward Robin. The Chicago Tribune wrote that he was an immediate problem, pushing himself forward in a showbiz manner that completely undermines the shyness of his character. But Roger Ebert said this is one of his best performances.
Interesting.
And Roger Ebert like hated Dead Poets Society with a passion, like thought it was disgusting. I really was not a fan of the first like half hour where he's like, I'm so nervous, I can't even talk to a patient without going, ooh, excuse me. And it doesn't like benefit the character at all, because then like, as soon as he starts to figure shit out, he's just talking to people who are pissing.
Yeah.
He like burst into the bathroom to talk to that chemist.
He walks into the chemist.
Yeah, and just started ranting and was like, hey!
Like, I don't care that you're got your pants down, like, we're gonna talk about this right now.
What was your paper about? Like, what did you have to write about for this?
So I had like several like prompted questions. One of them was actually about would you diagnose the mother with something? And I literally remember just ended up writing like, this woman is just like experiencing the fact that her son has come back to her after 30 years. I'm like, yeah, she's a little anxious, but like the last time she was able to like verbally communicate and socialize with her son was when he was a child.
Yeah.
So, and there's like this argument that she's like becomes too overprotective and she's like all worried about the girl, like he's talking to a girl, like girls, girls. She's like has this little monologue about how she can't handle that he's talking to girls.
I wrote initially that I thought that both of those romances were unnecessary, but I think the one with Robert De Niro and that girl is actually, it ends up
being really
with
nice.
that moment between them at the very end was like,
where they slow dance and it just calms him down and he's able to like stabilize his
but
body
he probably
again.
did never see her again though. No, well he did because she
would
him.
read to him, yeah.
But like that was the last time he like got to see her.
Mm-hmm. I also had this question about this. So we went to, I don't know if you're familiar,
Private Christian school. I probably talked about that before.
And so one of the questions was pull a piece of scripture from the Bible and relate it to your experience in seeing this film. And I had to write in my answer, I do not read the Bible that often. So I pulled a really random verse with the word awakenings in it. So I could make that connection. I think it was in Ephesians. It worked out.
I do recommend it. I don't know if it's going to go in my favorites, but I think that it is well done and moving and definitely worth a watch.
It's worth a watch if you have a hard time with mental illness stigmatization.
If you want to watch this movie, hopefully you have stars again, because that's where it is. But you can also purchase to rent this on Prime and Google and YouTube. Coming up next week, I have 1991's Shakes the Clown. Robin plays a mime. We're going back into uncredited cameo land for a week.
Oh, no.
Before we get into like the good shit like Hook and fucking Fern Gully.
Full Fern Gully.
You excited about Fern Gully?
I've actually never seen it.
Fairies! I think it's just about the... Why did I say fairies? Like, fairy god... Okay, I don't think I can film it anymore.